All right, funky intro music. I like it. Welcome to What is Cryptocurrency or What is Crypto Part 1. I'm going to try and keep today's little spiel short and sweet, and hopefully it's useful to you. If you're tuning in to this, chances are you know a little bit about cryptocurrency, but maybe you haven't actually purchased any crypto yet. And so you're taking the smart approach and you're learning as much as you can, and you're reading and you're watching podcasts, and you're trying to understand as much as you can. So I think that's smart. Good on you. Most of my videos I'll try and keep to under 15 minutes or less, keep them in short, digestible chunks, and make it easy for you to comprehend, as well as leaving this here so that it's available in the future if you want to go back and use this as a reference, or you had a question about something that I talked about. One of the things I always have to do before anything starts is run the legal disclaimer across the bottom of the screen. This is not investment advice. I'm simply sharing information with you that is the accumulation of things I learned over the last umpteen number of years, and specifically in the crypto space with what I've learned over the last 8 or 9 years. So I hope it's useful to you, and I applaud you for taking the time to learn more and understand more. So let's jump right into it. What is cryptocurrency? I get that question a lot from people who say, oh, it's, a Ponzi scheme, or it'll never last, or, Warren Buffett says it's not real and it's going to fail and he's a genius. And I agree. I think Warren Buffett's a tremendous genius. I learned everything about investing from a lot of the value investors like him and Peter Lynch. But I think times have changed. And I think if you looked at the world of technology, 20 years ago, who needs a cell phone? What would you need a cell phone for? We have a phone in the house, and now nobody can imagine living without a cell phone. And so just like technology changes and changes the way we live our lives every day, I do believe that cryptocurrency will have a tremendous impact on not just the world of finance and currency, but I think everything else that's taking place in the world. And I'm looking forward to talking about more of these topics with you over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years. So diving right into cryptocurrency, what is crypto? I think the easiest and quickest explanation is it is a form of digital currency that employs cryptography, or a way to cryptographically secure a piece of information so that it is something that is not easily figured out or cracked or hacked or decoded or decrypted by anybody else. Cryptocurrency came into the main stage with the creation of Bitcoin, which is by far the largest and most well-known cryptocurrency that's out there. And so we'll spend a little bit of time talking briefly about Bitcoin today, and what is Bitcoin and how does it work? What is Bitcoin? So if you're curious about it and you can't sleep one night and you're really bored and you want some reading information, Google what is Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin white paper. And the guy who wrote it, Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshi, nobody really knows who that person is. There are people who think they know who it is, who have an idea, but the person who wrote this paper basically came up with the concept of creating Bitcoin and the concept of decentralized finance, or a decentralized currency, as opposed to centralized currency. So what does that mean? Here in the US, we've got the US Federal Reserve, and we've got the US banking system, and we have a very centralized financial system and centralized currency that is pegged to our US dollar, compared to Canada, where it's a Canadian dollar, or the EU, where it's a euro, or China, where it's the RMB or yuan. So in a centralized currency system, you have a central banking system that can control currency production and interest rates. And I won't get too much into crypto, or I won't get too much into currency and finance right now, but the concept of a centralized system is one where the government is typically in control of how your currency works and flows, and the value of it, and the interest rates, et cetera. In a decentralized system, there is no one government or entity that is controlling or regulating the production of it, or the interest rates, or the lending rates, or the overnight Fed funds rate. And it doesn't exist within one centralized system, where if you look on the plus side of it, if the economy of Venezuela collapses overnight and the value of their dollar collapses because of the trade problems between Russia and Venezuela and China and the rest of the world with oil, what happens to the Venezuelan dollar, and what happens to the Venezuelan citizen, where all of their monies are located in a centralized currency system? So you can probably see inherently there's a lot of value in understanding why a decentralized currency would be good. That's part one. Part two is I think that the writer of the white paper and the creators of Bitcoin intended to create a system where there were true peer-to-peer transactions. And so a peer-to-peer transaction would be a transaction wherein I could buy something directly from you and I could pay you directly for it. So I think in the good old days, or in the old times, I think a peer-to-peer transaction was very common. I would barter with you and I would offer you gold or silver or my chicken or 5 of my chickens for one of your cows. I think in today's world, if you look at maybe how you bought groceries yesterday, you went into the grocery store, you got out your credit card or your debit card, you paid for your groceries. That payment went through a processing terminal to a credit card processing company. They took a fee, then they told your bank where to send money to, and that money went into a settlement account, and then they took a fee. And then before the grocery store actually got their funds, there was another day or two hold on there where somebody was making money from that. And so that's a very non-peer-to-peer system where there are a lot of intermediaries that are taking a piece of the transaction along the way, and the cost of that gets passed on to me, the consumer, gets passed on to you, the consumer who is consummating that transaction with the party that you're transacting it with. So the concept of a peer-to-peer transaction will only work in a decentralized system where there is no reason for the system to want to gouge you and take your money for doing what it is that they do. They're creating a peer-to-peer environment. So the concept of what is Bitcoin and how does it work? If you take two things away from this discussion today, number one is it's a decentralized system where there are, number two, peer-to-peer transactions. And so we'll talk more about those later, and we'll talk about how they work and how the network works. But for today, understand that it is an encrypted, secure way to conduct peer-to-peer transactions directly between consumers. How do I purchase and store crypto? Or how do I purchase and store Bitcoin? In this case, it's typically done through crypto exchanges. So you think about that the same way you would think about how do I buy and sell securities, for example, as you go through an exchange. So you open up an account with a brokerage or a bank, and securities are bought and sold through those exchanges. So if you decide you want to invest your money in a particular company that has stock that is publicly traded, you can buy that stock on those exchanges. Crypto is no different. There are different exchanges, and you can Google cryptocurrency exchanges to find out who the best ones are, who have the best customers service, the best security, the best safety, easiest to access, and make your own decision on which one you like the best. We'll talk more later about the different cryptocurrency exchanges. But basically, the way you would purchase crypto is through an exchange. And of course, for providing that service, do know that the exchange is taking a fee, and probably a very handsome one. So it's not free. And I think that's about it for today. We're going to try and keep it short. Like I said, this is just an intro to crypto. What is cryptocurrency? A little bit about Bitcoin. We'll talk more about the specifics of how Bitcoin works and about different crypto exchange options in the future. But that's it for today. So 8 minutes, 45 seconds, real easy and quick. Appreciate your time. Good luck and congratulations on deciding to do some homework and further investigate the crypto space. Take care. Stay safe.